The lights inside the Ireland's Got Talent theater were bright, but the atmosphere felt strangely heavy as a young boy slowly walked onto the stage. He looked smaller than the stage itself. His clothes were old and faded, shoes worn from years of walking streets instead of hallways. He held the microphone with both hands as if it were the only thing keeping him steady. His name was introduced as a boy from Cebu City in the Philippines. The audience listened quietly as he spoke about his life. He talked about singing on the streets back home, about helping his family buy food, about dreaming of a day when his voice could take him somewhere better. His accent was soft, his voice nervous, and his eyes kept dropping to the floor. The judges watched him closely. Some were curious, others doubtful. Simon leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, expression unreadable. The music began and the boy started to sing an Elvis song. His first few notes were shaky. The nerves were clear in his voice. You could feel the tension growing in the room. The audience shifted in their seats. Simon's face tightened. Then suddenly Simon lifted his hand and the music stopped. Barely 10 seconds had passed. A wave of gasps moved through the crowd. The boy froze. His heart felt like it dropped to the floor. He stared ahead, blinking fast, trying to hold back tears. He thought this was it. He thought this was the moment his dream ended in front of millions. For a long second no one spoke. The silence was louder than the music had been. Simon asked him why he chose such a big song if he was so nervous. The boy swallowed hard and answered honestly. He said Elvis was his hero. He said he learned those songs while sleeping on the streets listening to old radios. His voice cracked as he spoke. He apologized for being nervous. Tears began to gather in his eyes. The audience felt it. One of the judges leaned forward, clearly moved. The boy then quietly asked for one more chance. Just one. He said he had never stood on a stage like this before. He said he wanted to show who he really was. Simon hesitated. The room held its breath. Finally Simon nodded slightly and said go on. The music started again. This time something was different. The boy closed his eyes and took a deep breath. When he opened his mouth, the sound that came out shocked everyone. His voice was strong, rich, and full of soul. It was no longer a nervous street singer. It was pure emotion. Every word carried pain, hope, and longing. The audience began to react instantly. Faces changed. Eyes widened. Murmurs turned into cheers. The judges looked at each other in disbelief. As the song continued, the boy moved with confidence. His voice soared through the theater. It sounded like Elvis, but it also sounded like his own story. Years of struggle poured into every note. One judge placed a hand over their mouth, eyes shining with tears. Another judge nodded slowly, deeply impressed. Simon leaned forward now, elbows on his knees, completely focused. The skeptical look was gone. In its place was surprise, respect, and something close to emotion. Halfway through the performance the audience stood up. Clapping echoed through the hall, but the boy kept singing, lost in the moment. His voice never wavered. The camera caught tears rolling down his face as he sang, not from sadness, but from release. This was the moment he had dreamed of on cold nights back home. This was the moment that made every struggle worth it. As the final note rang out, the theater exploded. Everyone was on their feet. The applause was deafening. Cheers filled the air. The boy stood frozen for a second, unable to believe what was happening. Then he covered his face and broke down completely. Tears streamed down as he bent forward, overwhelmed by the love pouring toward him. The judges stood up too. One judge was openly crying, wiping their eyes before speaking. They told him his voice was not just talent, it was truth. Another judge said they felt every word and every pain he carried. Simon waited until the noise died down. He looked at the boy and shook his head slowly. He admitted he was wrong to stop him so quickly. He said what happened next was unforgettable. He said this was why the show existed. To find voices like his. The boy tried to speak but couldn't. He just nodded, tears still falling. He thanked the judges and the audience, his voice barely audible. He said this moment would change his life. The camera zoomed in on his face, a mix of disbelief and joy. A poor boy from Cebu City who once sang on the streets was now standing on one of the biggest stages in the world, being praised by judges who moments ago doubted him. As he walked off the stage, the applause followed him all the way. Backstage, He collapsed into tears again, holding his chest, whispering that his family would be proud. The judges continued talking about him even after he left. They said his story reminded them that talent can come from anywhere. That sometimes the quietest voices carry the strongest emotions. That night did not just change his future. It changed everyone who watched. A performance that was stopped after 10 seconds became one of the most emotional moments Ireland's Got Talent had ever seen. A poor Filipino boy proved that dreams do not belong only to the lucky or the rich. They belong to those brave enough to stand up, ask for one more chance, and sing their truth to the world.